So after a banger card today, we have a UFC card next weekend of Song Yadong versus Chris Gutierrez. And this should be a really fun card on paper. This looks like a really good card. 2 fights have been added. I don't know if any more fights are going to be added. That could be the case, but I'm just going off what's on the card now. If there is another fight added or anything, or if any fights fall through and a replacement gets added, I will make an update video just doing a prediction for that fight. But without further ado, let's get on to the fights that we do have. So we'll start with the first fight that got added. This fight was meant to happen today, but just before the weigh-ins, it just got pulled from the card. So I have no clue, honestly, no clue what that was about. I don't know what happened there. But Steve Garcia will be fighting Mel Quazalu Costa. And I was originally picking Costa in the fight when they were meant to fight today. And I don't know who pulled from the fight. I don't know who got pulled, who had illness or who was injured or whatever. I mean, I can't imagine it would be an injury if they're fighting again the next week. But a lot of fishy things about this. I feel like it's going to turn out to be whoever got pulled from the fight during the weigh-ins is probably the one who's going to come in very compromised, and it's going to be a disadvantage for that person. But I don't, just going into the overall fight, I'm going to say Costa's going to get this one done. I think Steve Garcia is actually decent. He just has a weird chin where he can just get rocked and dropped all over the place or get brutally KO'd, but then in other fights, come in and be pretty durable. Or not even just be durable, just go in there and have a really good performance. I don't know. Steve Garcia is one of those unpredictable fighters, but I'm going to take Costa here. I can just see Costa putting on a kickboxing masterclass, sort of how he did to Austin Lingo, but I think he gets a finish in this fight. I just don't see how Steve Garcia doesn't end up getting KO'd with like a head kick. But again, I did horrible for picks, so I don't know. I'm starting to question my own fight predicting abilities after today. Then we had another fight that was added. We had Daniel Marcos versus Carlos Vera. This is a really interesting fight. Obviously, Carlos Vera was on The Ultimate Fighter. He was on Team McGregor. He was probably one of their better fighters. He was one of McGregor's better fighters. But the one thing about this guy, he's 36 years old as a bantamweight. Like, he's an old guy. That's not a good look for a bantamweight, man. Like, I know, they say age is just a number, but in bantamweight, 36 years old is party's over, grandpa. That's pretty old for a bantamweight, and to be making a debut is, a bit worrying. I am going to take Daniel Marcos here. I think he's a solid fighter. I thought Davy Grant beat him, but even then, having a competitive fight with Davy Grant, I actually rate that really highly, because this is the same guy who brutally KO'd Jonathan Martinez. Look at the streak that Martinez is on right now. That's actually a really solid win there. So, I rate that win really highly. Marcos, he has a good chin. He didn't get KO'd by Davy Grant or anything. And I just don't see how Carlos Vera is going to win this. Short notice. Who knows, maybe Carlos Vera has been in training camp waiting for an opportunity like this. But I don't know, I just don't see him getting this one done. I sort of see him being masterclassed a little bit. He does seem to be a bit more of a grappler. And I just think Marcos is actually pretty decent. Even though I didn't think he beat Davy Grant, he still had a competitive fight with him. At the very least, did better than Jonathan Martinez, which is pretty impressive. I'm going to take Daniel Marcos. I'm not super confident. I just don't know the preparation that either of these guys have had. But, Marcos was meant to fight Victor Hugo. And I'm still pissed off about that. I don't get why he pulled out when the guy missed weight. You got a fucking short notice opponent and you pulled out. So I sort of hope Carlos Vera brutally KOs Daniel Marcos for that, because that really did piss me off. But I do think Daniel Marcos will get this one done over Carlos Vera. Then moving on, we have Rainian Dos Santos versus Taliana Alonca. Oh my god, women's MMA. I'm going to go with Rainian Dos Santos. Alonca just didn't look very good. That's the nicest way I can put it. She really looked fucking horrible in her Dynamite Contender Series fight. Very one-dimensional. Got 10-8'd in the third round. Cardio looked horrible. No striking. I picked her. Bad mistake. She's the favorite for some reason. Obviously, logic doesn't make sense in women's MMA, so I'm probably going to get this fight. wrong anyway, but I'm gonna take Rayan here. I think she's gonna just win this fight, being more well-rounded. I don't know, but I don't fucking know. What do I know about women's MMA? But yeah, I'm gonna take Rayan dos Santos. I think she'll get this one done. She is a fucking very small fighter for this weight class, former atomweight. So that's maybe something to be worried about a little bit, but I don't know, man. Alencar just didn't look very good in her last fight. I doubt she's improved that much. And if you look at it, Alencar is on the older side, 33. Who knows how much of a ceiling she has, how much she can improve at this point. So yeah, I'm going to take Rayan dos Santos. Then we have another women's fight. Oh my god, I'm going to get so many fights wrong on this card. Stephanie Edgar versus Leona Santos. I'm going to take Leona Santos here. You know, she's got a good finishing instinct. Edgar was knee barred in her last fight. I don't think Santos is going to be knee barring her or anything like crazy like that. I could just see her probably putting it on Edgar a little bit on the feet. Santos, you know, knocked out Juliana Miller. She seems very powerful. So I'm gonna take her to get a finish here, but I don't know jack shit about women's MMA, so I could get this completely wrong, and I wouldn't be mad about it. Then moving on, we got Kenan Song versus Kevin Doucette. This one's a real interesting fight. This one is actually interesting. I don't know who I want to go with here. You know, there is a lot of things about Kenan Song stylistically are really good for him in this fight. You know, he's a powerful guy, got good power, very good style of kickboxing. Like, there's things that go for both of these guys. Kevin Doucette, I really like Kevin Doucette. He's a valid CKB fighter. Not many valid CKB fighters. You know, I'd only put Kevin Doucette, Hooker, fucking Cam Rouston, and a few other fighters as valid. Obviously I don't count Volk. He's a freestyle fighter, but still, I really want him to win this, but this fight's so dangerous for him because of his defense. Kevin Doucette has tall man defense, and that's really worrying. If you even watch his fights on the Australian regional scene, he was getting hit so much. San Canon, very powerful, good check hook. Obviously, this is the guy who dropped Ian Gary, but you know, Ian Gary's chin's not as good as Kevin Doucette. So this is where I'm going to go with this fight. If you're going to bet on an underdog, you know, that I think has a good shot, bet on Song Kenan, in my opinion. I'm not going to pick Song Kenan to win, but I do think it's worth putting some money on Song Kenan, just because he has a real good shot here. He looked really good in his last fight against Ronaldo Badoa. He looked really good in that fight. His cardio looked really good. He looked like he slimmed down some muscle, so his cardio was a lot better in that fight. He was looking really solid. First round, though, he clearly lost. He was getting pressured. He was getting beat up a bit. And the thing I also worry about Song Kenan is he's taken so much damage over the years. KO'd by Max Griffin, KO'd by Ian Machado Gary in a fucking brutal beatdown outside of dropping him. KO'd by Israel Adesanya. KO'd by Brad Riddell. Like, he's taken a lot of fucking damage. It's worrying. It's really worrying for Song Kenan. He has taken so much damage. And especially at this point in his career, he's an older fighter, I believe. You know, 33 years old, 3 years older than Kevin Doucette. And you know, another thing that I think this is something that goes in the side of Kevin Doucette. Obviously, Song Kenan does a lot worse against guys with longer reaches, rangy fighters. Kevin Doucette's 75-inch reach at welterweight. You know, that's a really long reach. 4 inches longer than Song Kenan's reach. He has a good kickboxing style. He's 6'2". Like, I don't know. I feel like this is actually, like, this is a tough fight for them both stylistically, but I am going to go with Kevin Doucette, but I'm not that confident with it just because of his tall man defense. But one thing you'll learn about Kevin Doucette if you go watch his regional fights, the guy has a fucking chin on him. Like, the guy can take a lot of damage. He's very durable. Uh, Obviously, it's not good that we know he's so durable. Like, this guy is the only person on the regional scene that didn't get, like, knocked out by Jack Della Maddalena. He lost due to a cut. He didn't get knocked out or anything like that. It was fucking doctor stoppage, yeah? Fucking doctor stoppage of a thing, yeah? Fucking bullocks, mate. That was bad. That was fucking so bad. Fucking bullocks. Fucking bullocks. It was fucking bullocks of a thing, yeah? Anyway, sorry. I love trying to do a Conor McGregor accent sometimes mid fucking video, like a fucking sped. I apologize. But anyway, yeah, like, you know, it was a fucking doctor stoppage, yeah? Kevin Doucette, he wanted to keep fighting, but Jack Della Maddalena just sort of fucking cut his eye open. So they couldn't, you know, they couldn't keep the fight going, but still, he is very fucking durable. He can take a lot of shots. He'll always keep moving forward. He's a big guy for a welterweight as well. Like, I don't know how he makes welterweight sometimes. Like, he's generally built fucking pretty fucking massive. He's 6'2", and he's not like a skinny welterweight either. I just think with all the improvements and, you know, training at CKB, the CKB guys have a blueprint to beating Song Kanan, you know. Riddell's done it, Izzy's done it, and I guess now it's Kevin Doucette's time to do it. You know, it's 3 different divisions. I know Brad Riddell fought him at welterweight, but still, like, he's a lightweight now. Doucette's a welterweight, and then obviously Izzy's a middleweight. You know, they're all getting their shots. They've all beat up on fucking poor Song Kanan. I think another CKB boy gets a win over Song Kanan here. I think he's just going to put a beating on him, and I think I could see him finishing him. Maybe mixes up the judo, he gets some ground and pound going. Like, I know Song Kanan did look improved in that fight against Badoa, but, you know, Badoa is like a natural lightweight. He's just sort of chubby. You know, I feel like he could probably move down a division. Maybe we'd see another Kelvin Gastelum where, you know, he doesn't look as good after draining himself. Who knows? That could be the case, but I'm going to take Kevin Doucette here. Probably either by a second round TKO or decision. But anyway, sorry, I went on about that fight so much. I gave a real in-depth breakdown on that fight. So I apologize. I don't know if many people here came to hear my opinion on Kevin Doucette versus Song Kanan, but anyway, there it is for you if you wanted to hear it. Then anyway, after that fight, we have Tatsuro Taira versus Carlos Hernandez. You know what the UFC is trying to do here. They're trying to give Tatsuro Taira, you know, a big win here. Obviously, he's from Japan. It's going to bring in the Japanese market. I'm going to go with Tatsuro Taira here, but don't be surprised if Carlos Hernandez gives him some problems. I think Tatsuro Taira is a good fighter, I generally do, but I think he's so overrated. Like, this is one of my hot takes. I think Tatsuro Taira is not really that good. You know, I think he's great. I think he's good, I just don't think he's that good. You hear people talk about it like he's already the undisputed future fucking go to 3 divisions. Like, they're really talking Tatsuro Taira up like he's already done all these great things. I feel like he got exposed a little bit in his last fight by Edgar Chairez. His striking is not there at all. I think he's so fucked once he fights someone with solid takedown defense at flyweight. Like, I'm sorry, man, but his striking looked generally awful. He looked so hittable on the feet. He got dropped in that fight by Edgar Chairez. And Edgar Chairez isn't like a world beater. Clayton Carpenter beat him. Obviously, Tatsuro Taira also beat him, but I'm just saying, he's not like a world beater fighter. And he's given Tatsuro Taira a lot of problems. It was short notice, though, to be fair to him, but, like, I don't know, man, it worries me a little bit. Like, I don't know. I don't think his chin's all there. Obviously, he's a great grappler, and I'm really being critical of Tatsuro Taira here. I do think he's a good fighter. I think he will win this fight. But if Carlos Hernandez can keep this on the feet, yeah, it's really bad. It's really fucking bad for Tatsuro Taira here. Like, it will not be a good night for him. You know, Carlos Hernandez, decent hands. He's also a jiu-jitsu guy, so maybe this just stays on the feet, and if that is the case, I could see a fraud check here, but I'm gonna still go with Tatsuro Taira. I think he can win with his grappling here. I'm pretty confident in him getting like a submission. I do think he's good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just shitting on him to, oh, I'm a contrarian. I'm different. I have my own different views. I'm literally, this is just what I see when I watch him fight. There's just a lot of flaws I see. He's obviously young. He can improve. But I just mean this current version of him, the way he fights, I could see him really getting hurt in one of his fights. Like, he just looks like a bad flatline KO waiting to happen, in my opinion. Now, I could be wrong here. I'm not saying it's definite, but I just get that vibe from Tatsuro Taira. But I think he'll get this one done. Maybe decision, maybe submission. But yeah, I do expect him to win regardless, even though I just spent like 2 minutes shitting on him. I do think he's a good. I think he's a good fighter, but I don't see the championship contender out of him yet. Then we have Hung Sung Park versus Shannon Ross. This is an interesting fight. Shannon Ross, 3-fight losing streak, all by KO. Hung Sung Park, grappler, one-dimensional grappler pretty much. Very just grapple-heavy style. Yeah, so they've given Shannon Ross, who's been brutally KO'd his 3 last fights, a one-dimensional grappler. So I think Shannon Ross is going to find a way to get flatline KO'd here. So I'm going to go with Hung Sung Park by KO in this fight. I like Shannon Ross. I think he's a really nice guy, but I think he may be past it. Like, don't get me wrong. I never thought, like, Shannon Ross was ever going to be a future UFC champion. But obviously, you can tell if you watch his fights, like, before he got called up to Dana White Contender Series, like, his, 2010 fights. Let me check what the timeline is. Like, if you go look at his fights when he was fighting, like, Paul Logar, Charlie Alaniz, Steve Nightingale, Luke Morris, all them sort of fights, it was a lot better then. Like, obviously, he was a bit younger then. Hadn't taken as much damage. I feel like after the Steve Erceg fight, he really just fell off a bit of a cliff there. Obviously, he's a bit of an older guy for the flyweight division. He's 34 years old. And yeah, he's just taken a lot of damage in these fights. And I think we're going to see him get flatline KO'd somehow. He's taken so much damage. It's so worrying. 17-second KO, Jesse Aguilar. 59-second KO, Clayson Rodriguez got KO'd. He got dropped about 4 times against Vicentius Salvador. That was a horrible look for him. Obviously, went into that fight with... what did he even go into that fight with? It was some sort of illness. Oh my god, what was the... appendicitis, that's it. It was appendicitis, sorry. I went into that with appendicitis, so they signed him. I didn't think they should have signed him. Like, all respect to him, I think he's a nice guy. I'm not saying this to shit on him, I just gotta give my honest thoughts. I just think he's gonna get KO'd here, man. Unfortunate for him, and that's probably it for him. I can't imagine they'll give him another fight after this. But I'm gonna go with Hung Sung Park getting this one done. I know he's a grappler, but I feel like he'll find a way to get a KO finish. Then moving on. Oh my god, we have Nasrat Haqparast versus Jamie Mullarkey. I'm gonna look like fucking Benedict Arnold after this card. I'm gonna go with Nasrat Haqparast here. I want Jamie Mullarkey to win. I like Jamie Mullarkey, but I've noticed his chin is deteriorating. He's getting dropped so much in these fights. Maybe it's just to do with his defense, but he's getting dropped and rocked and hurt in so many fights recently. Like, it's really fucking worrying to see. Obviously got chinned by Jarlin Turner. Then got dropped in the Michael Johnson fight. Then he beat Prado. Didn't get fucking hit at all in that fight. Looked really good against Prado. But then fights Muhammad Naimov. He was looking really good in that Naimov fight. He was actually looking good. He was masterclassing fucking Muhammad Naimov, which is actually not looking bad now that he beat Nathaniel Wood, even though he did about 6 fouls in that fight. But, Jamie Mullarkey was looking good. Walks in. I don't know what the fuck he was going for. I don't know if he was faking a punch, faking a takedown, but he walks in, drops his hands, gets caught right on the chin, gets KO'd. And then in that John McDessie fight, there is a real good argument for giving that fight to John McDessie. Got dropped really badly in the second round. Like, that was not a good look for Jamie Mullarkey. McDessie's not like the most powerful guy. Obviously, he's a tricky veteran, but That was a bad look in my opinion when he got dropped. And yeah, he got dropped really fucking badly there. So that worries me. But he was actually looking really good. He looks very technical in his fights. But I don't know, I worry so much. His defense is so sus and he gets hurt so much. But also at the same time, Nasrat Haqparast had a back and forth war with Landon Quinones. Like, that was a really fun fight, really crazy pace they fought at. Also, I guess that's not probably a good look either, having a fucking war with Landon Quinones. But still, that was a fun fight, really good fight. Showed that he's still got a pretty good chin. Not that it was in doubt or anything. He's taken some beatings in some of his losses. Like, Bobby Green really put a beating on him. Obviously, Drew Dober fucking knocked him out. He's seen the color of his hair and then just like fucking went sicko mode on him. Landed about fucking 6 massive shots to him while he was knocked out. That was really brutal, one of those brutal KOs. But yeah, Nasrat Haqparast really good. I want Jamie Mullarkey to win. He's got a chance. He could maybe outdog Nasrat, but Nasrat's got that dog in him too, as you can see in that Landon Quinones fight. The guy's got dog in him, and I'm not talking about Israel Adesanya. He looks good. He looks good out there, fucking real powerful, really scrappy as Nasrat Haqparast. He's a very scrappy fighter. And I think he is going to get this one done, unfortunately. I could see him maybe getting a TKO, but he's turned into a bit of a decision machine lately. Like, he's not that powerful, Nasrat Haqparast. Like, I'm not saying he's pillow-fisted, John McDessie, decision, Rafa Garcia, decision. That Rafa Garcia win is really aged well, by the way. Alex Menunez, decision. He's only got one finish in his whole career, and it is against Joaquim Silva, who's known for not having the greatest chin. So I'm going to go with the decision here for Nasrat Haqparast. But I wouldn't be too surprised if Mullarkey wins, but I'm just going to have to go with the safe pick, which is Nasrat Haqparast. If Jamie Mullarkey, if you see this, I still love you, Jamie Mullarkey, but it's not. It's just business. It's just business. It's nothing personal. Anyway, moving on, we got Andre Muniz versus Jun Young Park. Who is everyone going with here? So everyone's going with Jun Young Park here, and I agree with this. I think we're figuring out Andre Muniz just isn't that good. I remember the Weasel saying that, I seen him make a tweet where it was like the fight everyone thought was the Brazilian threat, and the fighter who is the real Brazilian threat. And it was fucking a photo of Paulo Costa and Andre Muniz, and I responded with a photo of Caio Borrello, because Caio Borrello he is who people think Andre Muniz is. Is he the most entertaining fighter? No, but Caio Borrello, he is that guy. He's not the most fun fighter, but he is that fucking guy. Much better than Andre Muniz. I know it's really bought the whole Andre Muniz hype train. Like, I thought he was good, but I didn't see him as like he could have been the kryptonite to fucking Izzy. Who knows? Styles make matches and all this shit, but he's just not that great, if we're being honest. He's a bit one-dimensional, but he was piecing up Brendan Allen on the feet. So that's interesting. That's just middleweight things, I guess. I think this is a really good matchup for the Iron Turtle here. I think he can stuff the takedowns. He's got pretty decent takedown defense. And he's got really good hands, really solid boxing, and I can just see him boxing up Andre Muniz. Andre Muniz doesn't have the greatest chin, obviously. Got TKO'd by Paul Craig to ground and pound. That's like a fucking rarity and a half. He was getting, he was given the hands a little bit by Paul Craig, but also at the same time he was outstriking Brendan Allen, so I don't even know where you can rank this guy. But all of his losses before Brendan Allen were all by KO, and then obviously got TKO'd by Paul Craig, so he's got a bit of a sus chin. I can see the Iron Turtle finishing him off on the feet with, he's got really solid boxing. So I'm going to go with the Iron Turtle getting this one done by TKO. I think he's well-rounded enough not to just get taken down and fucking subbed instantly, but it is middleweight. My expectations are always low for these middleweight fighters, so we'll see what happens. Then we got Sumaderji. Sorry, let me try that again. We have Sumaderji versus Alan Nascimento. I'm going to go Alan Nascimento here. This guy is a fucking massive flyweight. This guy looks like a featherweight. I'm just going to put that out there. This guy's big. He's strong. and he's actually really good. You know, you could argue he beat Tegin Ulambeke. Like, you could really argue, like, that was a really close fight that could have gone his way, and he is actually a very solid fighter. Got very good jits, very good jujitsu. You know, he's got really good jujitsu. Obviously, trains at shootbox. You'll see him sometimes with the blonde hair. So you know, he's probably his striking's probably getting a lot better. And if you look at Sumajirji, the Tibetan Eagles record, obviously a lot of losses. Triangle choke to Matt Schnell, but that was a back and forth war where he kept knocking, flash KOing Matt Schnell, but he just kept waking back up and, you know, keeping that dog in him, wouldn't stay out of his face. Then we had Lewis Smolka. You know, he got an armbar. He got armbarred in that fight. He got choked by Howard bin Ma. Got choked by Abdullah Aliyev. Got armbarred by Yuseiko Uara. You know, it's something I'm noticing. His submission defense is a bit sus. Gets stubbed quite a bit. And you're going against a really solid jiu-jitsu artist who is just a real big guy for the weight class. I can just see him getting a submission in. So I'm going to go with Alan Nascimento getting this one done by submission. And then moving on, we have the co-main event. This one got made literally like this week. You know, Khalil Roundtree was meant to fight Azamat Murzakanov, but instead now steps in Anthony Smith for this weekend's card, next weekend's card. And I'm going to just say this, and I'm sorry, it makes me sound like I'm just a hater, but Khalil Roundtree isn't that good as everyone thinks he is. I'm sorry to say it, I am really sorry. I don't want to just be that guy who just hates and hates, but I don't think Khalil Roundtree is as good as people are making him out to be. Like, I've seen people say, like, oh, fucking Smith is a dead man, and, you know, like, it is a good matchup for Khalil Roundtree, but I've seen people act like Khalil Roundtree is like the fucking head to the throne, like the people acting like he's the next champ. Like, let's look at his wins, alright? Modestus Bukauskas, it's an alright win. Bukauskas ain't too bad. Carl Roberson, horrible win, if we're being honest. Roberson, you know, not the greatest fighter, and then he popped for fucking meth. Well, he didn't pop for meth, he got caught with methamphetamines in a home invasion. So obviously, you know, not got the greatest motivation. Got robbed Dustin Jacoby no homo. Like, he clearly fucking lost to Dustin Jacoby. It's one of the worst robberies I've ever seen. Maybe not robbery, maybe you could say it was a close fight, but like, Dustin Jacoby was clearly just like fucking boxing him up, out kickboxing him, and they somehow gave that to Khalil Roundtree, even though he got like significantly outstruck and he was just getting beat up. Yeah, that was a weird one. That was really weird. And then Chris Dawkins, like, for fuck's sake, are we really going to count Chris Dawkins as a win? You know, you could bring any fucking black fighter, you know, who hasn't won in like 10 years, and they'll will knock out Chris Dawkins. Chris Dawkins just can't beat black fighters. It is his kryptonite. Khalil Roundtree, stylistically one of the worst matchups for him. Knocks him out easily, but the thing is, Chris Dawkins was landing some real good shots on Khalil Roundtree. Like, Khalil Roundtree was getting clipped with some big shots. Like, all of these fights, he's sort of getting hit a lot. Like, Dustin Jacoby should have beat him. Chris Dawkins, give me match. That's the definition of a tune-up fight, and even then he was getting some big shots landed on him, but Chris Dawkins is just, like, pretty bad. Like, I don't know. I don't get why people are acting like Khalil Roundtree's like, you know, he's on his fucking Charles Oliveira arc. He's just not. Like, he's not going to be champion or anything like that. I could be wrong. It's fucking light heavyweight. Who knows? But I just don't see it. But I do think he will beat Anthony Smith, just because this is, like, stylistically a really tough matchup for Anthony Smith. Khalil Roundtree, good leg kicks. Anthony Smith cannot check leg kicks for his life. He's a very powerful on the feet as well. Powerful hands. Very similar to Thiago Santos, who did beat Anthony Smith. You know, he's very aggressive leg kicker, very aggressive to the body. Just a good all-round Muay Thai fighter. I just think stylistically, very tough matchup for Anthony Smith here. Could he win? Oh, fucking yes. Anthony Smith could somehow pull off one of those random triangles or subs that he... Like, this seems like the type of fight Anthony Smith will come in here and dominate, but he isn't looking as good lately, and I just think Khalil Roundtree, you know, horrible stylistic matchup for him, but Roundtree, it's not like he's a level above Anthony Smith. He could really lose this. I wouldn't bet on this fight unless you're betting on the underdog, because I wouldn't put Khalil Roundtree in your parlays. Is what I'm gonna say. He's not a lock by any means. I really don't believe he is a lock. But I'm gonna take it by leg kick TKO just because Anthony Smith gets his fucking legs chewed up. You know, he gets his legs chewed up like a fucking orphan. You know, trying to win a fucking eating contest to fucking find some fat couple's heart so they'll adopt him. Yeah, weird analogy. Bit of a weird analogy, innit? But yeah, that's all I could think of. Anyway, let's go to the main event. We have Yadong Song versus Chris Gutierrez. I'm going to be going with... who do I go with here? I'm going with Song Yadong. This is like the most gimme main event you'll see in a while. This is like I don't want to shit on Chris Gutierrez, but this is generally a fucking gimme fight. Like, this is really just a really good fight for Song Yadong to have like a showcase performance. Like, I just think he's really gonna fucking beat the shit out of Chris Gutierrez. Like, the fact he's getting like a high ranked opponent after beating Alatong Haley Shaleng is like really fucking bizarre to me. Like, that is really weird. I get it was short notice. He was meant to fight Montel Jackson, but now he's in a main event. I just think Yadong Song is really going to beat him. I'm going to just call him Song Yadong because that's what we all know him as. You know, fucking hell. Song Yadong is really solid. He's a really good fighter, very powerful, good takedown defense. So it's not like if Chris Gutierrez is getting fucking hit with big shots, it's not like he can panic shoot. Song Yadong has really good takedown defense. He is very strong hips. So I could see him hurting Chris Gutierrez, him going to shoot him for a takedown, him failing it and getting broken a little bit, getting pieced up and getting KO'd against the fence. I could really see that. Song Yadong, really solid fighter, man. He's really good. You know, he's so young as well. He's rapidly improving. And Chris Gutierrez, I don't know, man. He retired Frankie Edgar, but I don't think he's that great. I really don't. I feel like Song Yadong could really wrestle here defensively too. Like, Chris Gutierrez's takedown defense isn't that great either. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Song Yadong here. I think he gets this one done. What's Chris Gutierrez? He's not gonna knock out Song Yadong. Yadong has really solid chin, and I just think Yadong is the better striker, better grappling defense. Even better grappler. Like, I feel like this is a mismatch. I could be completely wrong. I'm getting a lot of these picks wrong lately, but I'm gonna go with Song Yadong getting this one done by KO. Anyway, there are my predictions for UFC Fight Night. Yadong versus Gutierrez. Let me know your fight predictions in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. If you made it this far, let me know if you guys are enjoying my headphones, my microphone now. Let me know if you guys enjoy this new audio, because I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, if you're not already subscribed, put on that notifications, share this video, share it to anyone, put it in MMA chats, get my name out there. Please help me. I want to make a living doing this. It's not even about the money. I just love doing this, but I'd love if I could make a living doing this, because this is like my dream job. So please help my dream come true. But anyway, enough shameless begging. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.